U luistert naar de DCDW-podcast, gepresenteerd door Paul de Vries. Elke week praat Paul met interessante gasten over actuele online automotive onderwerpen. De DCDW-podcast wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Marktplaats, Marble, Autodata Nederland, You Name It en Bovee.
Welkom op de DCDW-podcast van deze week met een hele speciale gast. Vandaag hebben we de gast Peter Grøftehauge, de CEO, oprichter van onder andere Autorola. Oftewel, we gaan vandaag in het Engels. Peter, welcome in the DCDW-podcast. Very pleasant to be here at the office of Autorola. Very welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Can you tell our audience who is Peter?
Yeah, okay. I'm a Danish guy. You know, I started Autorola 20 years ago.
20 years ago?
Yeah, together with my brother. And we have both grown up in the used car business. Our father was a used car dealer.
Yeah.
And around 20 years ago, we discussed what is the future. And we thought the future must be to sell cars online.
Yeah.
Then I wrote a specification of a tool to sell cars online. And my brother, he programmed it. Yeah. And then we launched it in the Danish market in 1998. At that time, of course, it was very early. And more or less nobody had a email or didn't know what is the internet. And
no, it was the era where we put on the internet to turn the fax modem off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges we had in the beginning actually were to that the dealers could actually not go into the auction platform because they need to drive through the modem. So it was complicated stuff. And then we learned in the beginning it was difficult to actually, or maybe too early to sell cars online. It was a few years too early, I think. And then we thought, what do? We need to be a little bit famous. So then we invented a tool to estimate used car prices. Called bilpriser.dk in Denmark. Mm-hmm. And we launched that in 1999. And within 1 year, we got more or less the full market on that tool. And that actually was kind of our first cash cow. Yeah. And from there, we reinvested all the money we earned in the business, and then we started to build next generation of our auction system. Yeah. And we launched that a second version of it, and you know, from there we grow, and the market started to understand to sell cars online is possible. Yeah. And from 2005, we started to go outside Denmark.
But the first version, was it also from the get-go a business to consumer or consumer to business to business version?
The first version actually was a business to business.
Okay.
And then we invented this business model in Denmark. We called it Autocom, where it's possible for a consumer to describe his car and offer it to all the dealers. Yeah. So this consumer to business model actually we invented in Denmark in 1999 as well. Mm-hmm.
And then in 2005 you were going outside of Denmark.
Yeah.
Because Denmark has the same problem Holland has, small market.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very small market, and you know, in my opinion, internet you need to be big, otherwise you don't have the scale, and because it's very expensive to build all those tools. So if you don't have a scale in your business, you can't afford to invest enough. So we started outside Denmark. We started in Germany, and then I think within 4 years we started in 15 countries.
15.
Yes, and then of course the financial crisis came. Then we decided to slow a little bit down because we realized that we need to be able to finance the growth. And then we started to invest in new technology platforms. You could say we call it Indicator. Yeah. So Indicator is actually the second generation of our first tool to estimate.
The first idea, right?
Yes. Yeah, the first tool to estimate used car prices called bilpriser. Yeah. So you can say, when you look into Indicator, our big data tool, it's not something we have been building for a few years. No. We've actually been thinking about how to do that the last 20 years. Yeah. So it's in our DNA, not only to sell cars online, but also to work with what we call market intelligence. So we are born, you can say, with both selling cars online and working with market intelligence.
So for the most audience, they don't know him, but Dale Pollack was actually on holiday in Denmark instead of the other way around, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But I'm a very big fan of indicator about the data. I'm very flabbergasted that so less dealers actually see the value of real data to make better decisions, to buy or sell cars. But you did also worldwide something you did here for the first time in Holland to sell, to buy cars from private consumers with the ANWB here. And you did some others in France, I thought, or in Australia, or how did it work out?
Yeah, this, we call it a car selling service, where the consumer describes the cars and offer it to the dealers. It's a business model, it works really well, and I think there's a need of that model in the market, but it's not a model we have in all countries, so it's depending on if we have a partner like ANWB, it's a relevant model, otherwise we don't do it, so it's a part. I think our main focus is business to business, where we are selling cars for leasing companies, the big banks, the OEMs, and even dealers. So we are selling a lot of business-to-business cars from the dealers.
And what is the next step then?
Oh, it's a good question. I think the next step, as I see the market, is going to be more and more data-driven. And I think everybody in the market needs to work with data in the future. Because if you don't have data, how can you then make the right decisions? And actually, I would claim today, maybe you don't like it or the market doesn't like it, but today, if you look into some retail websites, many of the cars doesn't have the right price, so it will be on page 4.
On the high end or the low end
in the listing, and then there will be no demand for those cars.
Engagement is
so you could say that if you don't have the right price at the right time, then you are not relevant to the consumers, and then actually all the marketing cost is waste of money. So therefore, it's so important always to be relevant to the consumer. That means that you have the right price at the right time. It doesn't mean that you need to have a low price. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
Because sometimes actually you can increase the price and be even more relevant. So the key is the right price at the right time. And I think everybody needs to work more with that. And everybody, as time will go, will see the value in that.
We have to get rid of the stomach feeling.
Exactly.
My stomach feeling is saying we are going to left instead of the right or other way around. And I'm talking to dealers a lot, and I'm explaining them the CarMax model in America. About I don't know the English word on top of mind, but the PAL stock. That's the thing in the engine. You can see the oil.
Yes.
I don't know the English words for that one, but they do it after 5 days. How is the car performing online? How many views? How many leads? How many phone leads, etc. And make up that amount. Can we sell it within the 28 days? Can it be higher? Can it be lower? If the car is getting a lot of engagement, the price can be higher. Gets it no engagement whatsoever, are the pictures good, the description is good, whatsoever. 5 days. Here we are waiting, if you have lucky, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then complaining that the marketing cost is too high, but your data set or your mindset is wrong.
No, I think it's very important, because if you have a car in your showroom and the car is not relevant to your buying audience or your customers, actually, it would be better to replace it with another car, more relevant to your customers. So it's actually, if you have the wrong car in your showroom, you need to get it out and find a better opportunity for your consumers. Otherwise,
for your money.
Exactly. So it is very important, and in the end of the day, the first loss is maybe the cheapest loss, as we know. So if you can't sell the car within 30 or 60 days, why should you be able to sell it within 90 or 120 days? So you need to have much more strict rules and follow those guidelines. I know many dealers have used car policies, but the problem is that they don't follow them. So there needs to be much more discipline and much more action. And if a car doesn't really fit, get it out, get it sold, and find another one.
And get a better car for your money.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. And to turn over, because I was writing a blog about 12 months ago about the turn rate of CarMax, for example. 12 times.
Yes.
And here you get the feedback, I'm 6 times, and that's very good. Is it?
No, it's not. I think in the UK, the best performing dealer have 18 times now. And But I think there is a lot of, you can say there is really a lot of value, a big impact in your P&L if you're able to increase the stock turn from 6 to 9, for instance. But to do that, you need to be very disciplined in what you do.
Yeah.
You need
process-driven.
Yes, very process-driven and very disciplined. And you need to make sure, for instance, that your cars, have the right amount of pictures when you show them online. So I think today about 5% of all the cars listed do not have pictures. But how can you then believe you can sell a car? It's stupid.
In an Instagram world, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And why spend the marketing money to list it if there is no pictures?
No.
It's simply not the right way. So make sure that you have very, very, you can say, strong process in what you do and clear guidelines for everybody to follow. You need to have the right amount of pictures. You need to have the right price at the right time. It doesn't mean a low price.
At the right time.
Exactly. So sometimes actually you can start with a higher price. If you're a BMW dealer, maybe you can start with 103% of the market. But then you need to adjust. If you don't sell the car within 1 or 2 weeks, you need to adjust the price down.
1 or 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think in my opinion, you need to work with what we call a dynamic pricing. So you need to adjust all your prices every single week.
Yeah.
So in your management meetings, in your sales meeting, you need to review all the cars. Is it the right car for our inventory? Is it still relevant to our customers? And what is the price? Is the price relevant to the market as well?
Yeah. In your opinion, you are all over the world or in Europe as well. What is the most progressive market in new ideas? Is that the UK? Is that Denmark, Holland? Is that the small countries?
I think I think there's many things you can learn in every single market. In the US, you can learn a lot, but they also, on the other hand, they are a little bit old-fashioned sometimes. In the UK, they are very advanced, but they have a lot of physical auctions still. In some of the European markets, like Holland or like Belgium or like Austria or Denmark, there's not really physical auction existing more. No. So it's much more online world. Yeah. So I think actually it's difficult to say that some markets are more advanced than others. I think you can always learn a lot in every single market. Yeah. But I think what is the case now is that the market is getting more and more European. So what we saw some years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we saw that we started to export a lot of cars from Holland to the rest of Europe. Yeah. Then there was a lack of used cars in the market because there was not so many new cars sold. Yeah. Then the export, you can say, went down. And now the volume is getting back in the market with used cars. And now we can see the export is increasing again. Yeah. So the market is getting very, very dynamic. Yeah. A huge amount of cars are exported, but also a huge amount of cars are imported. Yeah. Again, you export those cars not relevant to your market. You sell them in Germany, for instance, or in eastern part of Europe, in Poland, in Czech Republic, where they still like diesel cars, for instance. Yeah. And you import cars, for instance, from Germany, more relevant to the Dutch market here. Yeah. So I think you will see this dynamic is going to accelerate even further. Yeah.
And in your own market, is there also an export-import market in Denmark?
Yeah, it's a huge import-export. Yeah.
Import and export.
Import and export.
Because you have the highest taxes in Europe?
Yes, we have very high tax. Yeah.
Of
course, when we export a car, we can get the luxury tax back, like you can do in Holland with the BPN. Yeah. But the Danish market is also getting more and more dynamic now. Yes, I think that's what I see all over Europe. You can say. Yeah.
What's the best market now to buy?
The best market to buy.
Spain.
It's a good question. It depends on which car you want to buy. I think if you want to buy diesel cars, I think there's a lot of pressure on the diesel cars now in Germany. So you can find, I would say, diesel cars to a fair price.
I want to buy a Land Rover Discovery diesel.
Yeah.
Where should I buy that thing?
I think, I don't actually know. You can probably cherry pick one. Yeah. But I think
I only need one.
In Germany, I think there is you can find this car, quite a high volume of those cars to a fair market price. Yeah. I think that I think actually it depends a little bit which cars you're looking for. Yeah. Because we can see now that the demand. I think now what we're seeing in the market now, after the crisis, there was the prices went very much down for the used cars. Then there was a lack of new cars sold. The volume on new cars went down. Now there have been a period where you have had not enough used car supply in the market, but now it's coming back. So now you will see all over Europe that everybody is getting back to the volume they had more or less before the crisis.
Yeah.
So now you are going to see that the amount of cars defleeted will accelerate for the leasing companies, for the OEMs and so on. So I think you will see now there will be pressure on the prices the coming years.
Yeah.
It will not be as easy to sell the used cars as it have been the last 4 years. So, and of course, depending on which cars you have in each market, I think that it's probably going to change the dynamic again. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting to see what happens with the diesel cars, because it's not an easy one to solve, I think. There is probably there will be some pressure on the prices.
Yeah. The indicator.
Yeah.
We talked about it at first. Are there new features coming? What you can tell?
Yeah, we are now we're just launching a data warehouse. So now we can make very advanced reports for every single market, where we can do what we call a market report, where we monitor how many cars are sold, which cars are the most relevant for the market, and so on and so on.
On a daily basis?
Yeah. And we are doing as well what we call a dealer franchise report. So you can monitor, you can say the whole how many cars are sold and who is performing well within your franchise network, if you're, for instance, an OEM.
Yeah.
And we're also doing, you can say, a dealer report. So a lot of exciting stuff, you can say, relevant to the dealers, relevant to the OEMs, relevant to leasing companies, relevant to rental companies, and the dealer groups and the banks, Yeah.
Are your biggest clients also the OEMs on that level for Indicator?
Yeah, of course. I think that they like to work with big data, because they also want to understand, for instance, if they do buyback agreements, so how many cars can the market absorb within a certain age of the cars or category, and so on. So I think if you really understand to benefit from those data, it's actually a way where you can plan. You can say how much volume can the market absorb without hitting a negative impact on the market price. So it's really like a crystal ball. There's so many things you can benefit from if you understand to work with the data.
And it's all in the data, right?
It's only in the data. Yeah. If you don't have the data, you can't see those opportunities.
Peter, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the short notice that we can make up this agreement. Frank, thank you for making this all happen. Thank you for your valuable time to talk with our audience about Autorola, about Indicator. I hope you're doing very good. And good for you. En dames en heren, volgende week weer een aflevering van de Deze podcast, maar dan wederom met een andere gast. Dank je wel.
Bedankt voor het luisteren naar Digital Car Dealer Workshop, de podcast. Volgende week is er weer een nieuwe uitzending met wederom een interessante gast en boeiende onderwerpen. Kijk voor meer informatie en de notes van deze uitzending op www.dcdw.nl/podcast. En wilt u meer weten over DCDW? Kijkt u dan op dcdw.nl. De DCDW-podcast wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Marktplaats, Marble, Autodata Nederland, You Name It en Bovee mij.